Nam Cameroon and makarna maiki yebe na bi jobren bi ne nying fufulu bi toba mvoy bi toba mion anam Cameroun anam wan.
Ensemble, main dans la main pour préserver l'unité de notre cher et beau pays, le Cameroun.
C'est un message de Royal FM, la radio des auditeurs.
The 6 a.m.
with ABEL, BELA SAMARI.
Good morning, blessed people. Welcome to Royal Morning News, coming to you from Royal FM 88.4, our late story. The first ordinary session of Parliament opens in Cameroon today. Expectations surround the election of a new bureau at both chambers.
What is important is not really just a matter of putting on a new bureau, but to understand that this bureau is just 1 year old.
Get this and more in this edition of our 6 a.m. newscast. Good morning once again. My name is ABEL. BELA SAMARI. Like I said in our late story, the opening plenary sitting of the National Assembly will begin at 11 a.m., while at the Senate, the event will take place at 4 p.m. Ahead of this session, the expectation of most Cameroonians is to see a new bureau that will be put in place. Honorable Jumo Peter is of the CPDM Dian Division.
What is important is not really just a matter of putting on a new bureau, but to understand that this bureau is just 1 year old. And so far, the bureau has been very, very effective. What is the government doing to put in place the triennial program for the employment of the youths?
To this other MP, it is time to execute the state's budget.
Honorable Anyere Charles, we are expecting the ministerial departments involved to execute the budget such that the grassroots population will benefit from it.
Like Honorable Anyere Charles, Honorable Mbami thinks the same.
It is a national program within the National Assembly to send out parliamentarians to go on the field, and the Norway delegation was led by Honorable Mbami visited the referral hospital in Bamenda 3. The project was abandoned, and so during this time we'll be expecting to hear from the Minister of Public Health.
And to tell you that the March 2021 session proceeds will be held with members of the National Assembly in the plenary hall, while the public will follow by video conference in the ordinary committee rooms. Access to the National Assembly sites at the conference center will be exclusively for members of the National Assembly, members of staff, medias, and those with an invitation card. This is contained in a press release signed by the Secretary General of the National Assembly, Gaston Komba. And we'll take you to something else in this newscast to say the 2021 edition of the Commonwealth has been commemorated in Cameroon. This year's theme is delivering a common future, connecting, innovating, transforming. A ceremony was organized to that effect yesterday at the Ministry of External Relations, with the High Commissioners, Cabinet Ministers, and other members present. Let's now listen to the Minister Delegates at the Ministry of External Relations, Felix Mbayu, who had this to say.
As its 52nd member, admitted in November 1995, Cameroon has had a remarkable trajectory in the Commonwealth. At the highest level of state, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, prior to 2015 CHOGM, stated, I quote, Cameroon has had a very fruitful relations with the Commonwealth. The overall impact on the national agenda has been positive and supportive of the necessary conditions for economic and social transformation, of which the government of Cameroon is greatly appreciative. End of quote. In recent years, the Commonwealth has been working with the government of Cameroon to organize outreach and policy development initiatives in line with the government's priority. Let us cite some of them. Developing a robust electoral democracy, extending human rights and freedoms to our people online and offline, preventing and countering violent extremism, digitizing the penitentiary administration.
And in the following report, Finri Crispin looks at what Cameroon has benefited becoming a member of the Commonwealth.
The Commonwealth is a voluntary association of 54 independent and equal countries. It is home to 2.4 billion people and includes both advanced economy and developing countries. Woman Blaze is an international relation expert.
Cameroon joined the Commonwealth in 1995, that's on the 1st of November. And if you want to check concretely, you will see that Cameroon has really not benefited much from the Commonwealth concretely. But if you analyze at the different levels of cooperation, we may have some levels of achievement.
Though Cameroon have not made much benefits from the Commonwealth, through our expert analysis, we can find some gains.
In terms of politics, I think Cameroon and the Commonwealth relate at two levels. At the level of democracy, based on the principle of separation of power, we don't have separation of power in Cameroon. So you can say that Commonwealth supported Cameroon in the establishment of ELECAM, and the law will cooperate at the level of the respect of human rights and freedom. And so we can say that at that level, Cameroon has benefited a little from the Commonwealth in terms of the respect of human rights.
The international relation expert Humo Blaise goes ahead to say that Cameroon has also benefited from the Commonwealth both in the educational and economic milieu.
A lot of Cameroonians have benefited from Commonwealth scholarships, and Commonwealth has also funded some few projects in Cameroon, which are very minimal. Commonwealth also hosted business councils in Cameroon sometime in 2008 and 2003. The business council gave Cameroonian businessmen an opportunity to liaise with businessmen from the 54 countries that make up the Commonwealth, and I think good business deals were made.
Humo Blaise ends by emphasizing on the following.
Commonwealth has all what it takes to make Cameroon stand, but being who we are, there are a lot of loopholes in our government. The domain of democracy, Commonwealth has as principle separation of power, but we don't see that in Cameroon. So I think Cameroon has a lot to benefit from Commonwealth if we strengthen ties and follow Commonwealth principles.
Following the expert explanation, Cameroon have gained much from the Commonwealth since its integration, but she still have a lot to benefit.
Fimi Crispin, in that report, you are listening to Royal Morning News coming to you from Royal FM 88.4. We talk the coronavirus in Cameroon and looking at the communication that surrounds the outing of government officials concerning the disease, to see that there is a lot of cacophony surrounding the outing of government officials as far as the coronavirus is concerned, especially in this area where vaccination against the virus is making wave, while a prime ministerial communique talk of an non-obligation of the vaccine. Another letter comes up from the Ministry of Public Health stressing on a possible bill to make coronavirus vaccination obligatory. Looking at all this cacophony, our reporter Mapala Zita spoke with a communication expert and compiled the following report for us.
It is no news to anyone in Cameroon that whenever a situation comes up, there are lots of controversies from government officials as each minister shows up with his own version of the story, caring less whether or not it ties with what his colleague of the other ministry said. Communication on the coronavirus does not seem to be different. Mr. Alemken Richard is a communication expert and he explains.
I think final communiques concerning very vital issues meant for the public are supposed to be done through a consensus, and as to what concerns the government and the coronavirus wahala that we're having at the moment, you can say without fear that government communication is not very stable in Cameroon. This is not the first time we're having such issues.
Whatever the case, when it comes to vaccination against the coronavirus, Mr. Alemken Richard says there are some components of the society where more attention should be paid.
For the coronavirus and the vaccine issue, it is a matter that the government has to concert within its circles. You know that some components of the society that the vaccine must be an obligation for them. For example, the school environment, the hospitals, the prisons, and the military. Those are areas that the vaccine in principle should be obligatory because it's an area where you have massive presence of persons on daily basis.
The Prime Minister said vaccination against the coronavirus is not obligatory, though he urges all Cameroonians to take the vaccine, which is the only way we can return to a normal Cameroon. Secondary Education Minister says there must be a systematic COVID-19 test of all students and staff before they will be permitted in school, and now there are possibilities of a bill to be tabled at Parliament for obligatory testing and vaccination against the coronavirus. Our communication expert says it will be therefore a political affair and no longer health if such a bill is passed.
As concerns the bill in Parliament, at this time now we are at the level of politics. When it comes to bill proposals, it's all about money. Most probably the owners of the vaccine are trying to make Cameroon one of its markets. Well, what I'm certain is that the owners of the vaccine are trying to corrupt, as usual, our MPs to propose a bill in Parliament that will render the vaccine compulsory.
Let us just keep our fingers crossed on this issue, respect barrier measures, and hope for a corona-free Cameroon.
Mapala Zita in that report. I will take you out of the country to Ivory Coast, where the Prime Minister of Ivory Coast, Hamad Bakayoko, has died in a hospital in Germany. Authorities says Bakayoko, who was receiving treatment for cancer, passed away on Wednesday, just days after his 56th birthday. He was appointed Prime Minister in July following the sudden death of his predecessor, Amadou Gon Coulibaly. And in sport, to tell you that Cameroon giant Cotton Sport of Garoua have lost their first group game of the CAF Confederation Cup 0-1 to Algerian top-side outfit JS Kabylie. The game was played last evening at the Stadio du 1er November 1954. The 15-time League One champion are expected to return to Cameroon in the hours ahead to prepare for their League One clash against Young Sport Academic of Bamenda, while preparing to take another Champions League game against Renaissance of Bakene in the second CAF Confederation Group B game. It is with that note in sport that we wrap up this edition of Royal Morning News. To tell you that more newscasts will be yours at 8 a.m. in the French language, 12 noon Royal Midi, 2 p.m. Royal Afternoon Edition, 6 p.m. Royal Soir, a bilingual version. The team keeping you company this morning is made up of Carol Production, Teresa Copyright Clerk, Irishke Moisa Sound Engineer, Alain Kwekama, Video Editor on our Facebook page, Royal FM Cameroon. The news was produced by Susan Nayonge with editorial coaching coming from Jean-Pascal Tala. Coordination was done by our own station manager, Bertrand Nwona. General supervision was ensured by Reverend Pastor Emmanuel Nobesai. For presentation, my name is Abel BELA SAMARI. And up next is Royal Matana with Francis Libera, who is joining me in the studio this morning. Good morning to you, Francis.
Bonjour, Abel BELA SAMARI. Bonjour à tous les auditeurs de Royal FM.
Yes, it's Thursday.
Yes, nous sommes là encore pour apporter un maximum d'ambiance, de guidée permanente et surtout de joie de vivre à nos auditeurs. Le programme, c'est la matinale royale. Nous sommes ensemble, bien évidemment, jusqu'à 8h avec les articulations connues de tous. On aura droit, bien évidemment, au journal de l'économie à partir de 6h45 à 7h sur le journal des sports. Ça s'appelle Royal Sport. 7h35, la chronique matinale avec Jean-Pascal Tala. Vice-président sera des nôtres à partir de 7h45 dans le cadre de la page pratique. Et n'oubliez pas, si ça vous dit de souhaiter un très bon réveil, très bonne journée à vos amis et connaissances, ça se passe par appel et par SMS au numéro que vous connaissez. Il y a également un petit thème qui va nous accompagner ce matin dans le cadre de la causette matinale. Est-ce que toutes les femmes aspirent au mariage? On en parle tout à l'heure sur la meilleure des radios.
I like your outfit this morning, very eloquent for a day like this. Listeners, don't move a muscle because up next is Royal Matana with a man they call him Francis Libera.
Thank you.